Hello, Josh Rosenfeld here. I wanted to show you a cool new chatbot that I just created 5 minutes ago. This is a quote bot. And what it does is this awesome company here called Wash Bros. Two young men have a pressure washing company. And they're really into, great marketing techniques and they're into AI. So we are creating a quote bot for them where it will ask how many windows do you have, how many floors, and finally, how many square feet does your house have? Kind of like what a real salesperson would ask over the phone to the customer just to give them an accurate quote. Then we could run an ad for a free quote to the messenger bot, which you see over here on the right. You could see as I'm scrolling, there's a chat window here. And the way this bot works, and I'll show you how I made it, is when anyone texts the word free quote, it could be free window washing quote, whatever I choose it to be, whatever they want it to be, and that triggers a new bot, not their default bot, which is a different video, their new bot, to try to give them a free window cleaning quote. So here's how it works. I use Go High Level and CloseBot and ChatGPT. Go High Level is obviously the CRM and the backbone of everything. CloseBot is the chatbot front end over ChatGPT. And the way it works is it's going to ask some questions, as you may have seen over here. How many windows do you have? How many floors? What size is your house? And then it gives them the quote. And the trick is having the chat bot do the math for the quote mid chat. And I figured that out. So I'm going to show you that. This is not a CloseBot tutorial, but if you need one of those, I have other videos. But essentially, I created a bot that has a conversation happening because the lead requested a quote for window washing. So that's what the bot knows when it starts up. And it's trained on washbros.com, so it knows about their business if someone starts asking questions that are off topic from the quote. And then in Go High Level, I created a few custom fields. This is crucial. You need to do this for this to work. Some custom fields so I can store the answers to the questions: how many floors, how many windows, what size your house is, and the quote that it gives back to the customer. Okay. So now that I have these 4 custom fields in Go High Level, I am going to move me over here for a second. I'm going to shrink my head. Okay. I'm going to have this bot ask these questions. And actually, before I do that, when you cook up CloseBot, it comes with a snapshot that you have to use at Go High Level. So you're not going to understand how this bot is working until I kind of show you this snapshot. This is the snapshot that everyone gets. So if you're using CloseBot, your snapshot looks very similar to this. I've added to it, which is what this tutorial is about. The first step in the CloseBot automation workflow is setting the communication type. I'm coming in through Facebook. I want this to be a Facebook triggered word so I can do Facebook Messenger ads, all sorts of different things. But it would work with any channel: SMS, chat, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. So what I did is first I need to look for the word free quote on Facebook. And I'm doing that over in the Facebook column here from this if-else statement. Comes with your chat bot, guys. It looks just like this, but mine looks slightly different in that my filter responses has a few filters in it so I can look and see what the customer is typing in. So I'm not going to get into all the different things that I've added in here. If you don't know anything about automations or workflows, you should. So search YouTube for that. I'm looking for if they say call me, or this, that, and the other. But specifically, we're talking about the words free quote, like this demo gets triggered by. So if the replied message contains free quote, okay, so that when I do that, that becomes a column underneath the if-else statement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few things, and this I just do. It works for me. It's been suggested by people from the CloseBot family of to do it this way so your bot works perfectly. So first I reset my bot, because I have a default bot and they may have already talked to it before and I just don't want it to get confused. So I always recommend resetting the bot. The second step is I'm going to remove a tag and then add it again. I know that may not make sense, but I'm triggering this bot with a tag, and I, again, just to be sure it works right, I like to remove any tags that are associated with this flow here and add it again. So I'm going to remove the quote dash window tag. You can call it whatever you want, but it's got to be one tag and you're going to use it again, okay? And then I'm going to add it back. So now I know that it's perfect. Then I'm going to send a bot override message. This is a CloseBot feature that you have to do so the bot knows what you said to it. What I mean by that is if someone types in free quote, that's out of nowhere. The bot doesn't know what that's in relation to. The bot override message gives the bot context. So I'm going to say, hi, you're looking for a quote on window cleaning? We are running a special. Okay, that is what the bot will send to the customer through Facebook because they enter the words free quote. Okay, and then I have this column here. I just send it over to this process message field here, or this process message task here, which sends it into workflow 2, which we're going to go over next. Okay, so this is the first trick, triggering the keyword and adding in a tag and overriding your bot. The second part of this is the second workflow in the CloseBot snapshot. Okay, so what this is doing is yours just probably says on and none. Okay, if you'll notice, we've got quote dash window, kind of like what you saw in step 1. And what this does is it's looking for if the tags includes quote window, which we added in the last step, then I want you to go down this path. If it doesn't have that, it's going to go down the regular path. Okay, so I'm going down this new path here. And all I'm doing when I go down this new path that's different from the built-in path, see if anyone can notice over here on the right what you see different, is I'm setting a custom bot number because I'm using a special bot. I have multiple bots for this client, so I'm using a special bot. And then it continues. The other things I'm doing is I am passing in variables. So if you remember, let's see, if you remember, I made these custom variables, floors, windows, size, quote. This is the actual value unique key that you could enter into CloseBot, and you could enter it into workflows, and then that one value will populate, or that the value of the field will populate everywhere this alternate is put in, essentially. Anywhere it says, mustache, contact, quote, it's going to put in what the value is of that field. That's a very powerful thing that Go High Level does. Okay, and I'm going to call this @quote. I'm going to save this. Okay, so this is the main difference. I've changed the bot, and I'm preparing it to work with 3 or 4 different variables that are attached to fields in Go High Level. Okay, now let's go back to CloseBot. In CloseBot, you'll notice I have windows, floors, size, and quote, right? These match up with the fields in Go High Level that we created. Okay, so the first question it asks is, if you had to guess, how many windows does your house have? And I wrote that. And I'm I'm mapping it to the windows field. Okay, so you got to make your fields first. If your bot's open when you're doing that, just refresh your bot or the fields may not show up. But make sure you're auto-updating each field as you ask these questions so this bot can do its calculation. And I have a few answers in here just so the bot is really good. So if they say, not sure, bot says, oh, don't worry about it. Can you make a good guess? It makes the quote more accurate. That's a low rating, so it doesn't pass. If they answer 10, that's a right answer. That's a number, which is what we're looking for. And I'm going to have this keep asking because without a number of windows, it's very hard to give a quote. Okay. Same thing with floors. It's going to say, how many floors does your house have? Okay, and it's going to put that answer in the floors field. And I'll give it a retry limit of 2. There's no need to bug them again and again. You can get a really good quote probably with just the windows, or a good enough quote, let's say. Then I have it ask for how many square feet is your house. I'm mapping that to the size field here, like we created. Okay, and I'm giving it some responses. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, not a problem. No worry. So it tries to prompt them well to give the answer. If they don't, after a couple of times, it's just going to skip on. Now here's where the magic happens. The quote. What I did is I say, I'm going to map to the quote field, even though there's nothing in it because we haven't done the math yet. And I want to preface this by saying, Wash Bros does their quoting differently. So this is not their formula. It's not even correct math at all. But it shows you the power of asking questions putting them into custom fields, then you could bring them into QuoteBot and do math on it. So CloseBot and do math on it. So I tell the bot here, because you get to add 500 characters per priority, per objective in each priority here. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm just letting it know here, you're going to make a calculation to present a quote for window cleaning, because that's what these guys call it, not washing, based on the previous questions at windows, at size, at floors. And since we pass these variables through in the webhook from Go High Level, it makes it way more powerful than if it only had to remember it only in the context of this bot and it wasn't really connected to the webhook itself. It's something Bryce taught when he was doing some live builds, and it seems to work really well. I mean, may or may not be right on it passing through, but I really think that is the key to making this work correctly, because it does work. And then I tell it, okay, here's, you ask some questions, window size, floors, and here's the formula. And this is, I have no idea if this is right, but if you got, every quote is based on a snippet of math, right? An algorithm of some sort. The formula is at windows times $6.75 per window. And then you could add in more like times 1.2 if the size of the house is over 2 floors, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? And then after you give the quote, see if it makes sense to book a cleaning. So this is what the bot is going to try to do in this step on this in this objective, okay? And it's going to update the field. So after that, it's going to try to book an appointment as normal, which CloseBot is great at, with the conversational appointment setting that's attached to a calendar here in the Go High Level instance for the client, okay? Okay, great. So that's it. That is how you set up this bot, and it will work like this. As you can see, I've got the same chat window open up. Got Messenger here, and I've got it down here on the right, but it's a little confusing. How many windows are we talking? It's asking me. First question, right? I'm saying I have 24 windows. You can see me responding there. And, you have to give it a second to respond. It isn't instantaneous yet, but it will be really soon, I'm sure. And it will go through the flow that you saw set up here, and it will come up with a quote, and it will try to book an appointment. It works great, and it was pretty simple to set up, and it would essentially, I believe, work for any product or service that you can make a math formula for. The technique is more than just offering a quote. It's really all about passing in variables to the bot, to CloseBot, in the webhook from custom fields that you've pre-created in Go High Level. So with some proper setup, you can do really amazing things. If you like this, smash the like button, share this, and I will see you later. Next demo. Bye.